What is up, all my dorks, nerds, geeks, and gamers? It's your host, Ghost here, and you're watching a brand new episode of Wet Ink. We are going to continue on with our Batman X TMNT number 2 storyline. We are on issues 3 and 4, as you can tell here. So as usual, we're going to hop right into issue 3, and then we're going to move on to issue 4, and then we're going to give our thoughts and overview on everything that happened in the story, and then our final scores of what we thought the issues, how they stand on their own, and also how we see the final score affecting the storyline as a whole as well. So hopping into issue 3. As you remember last time, we left off with Bane actually capturing Baxter Stockman, who is a lifelong Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles villain. If you guys don't know anything about TMNT, or you're more of a Batman fan than you are a TMNT fan, Baxter Stockman has always been kind of their mad scientist, the guy that can do any kind of serum that they need. He's also the guy that kind of introduced the mutagen and how the Turtles' origins came into being, and Bebop and Rocksteady and everything else in this kind of universe that they're kind of living in. So Baxter Stockman is a very important character to the TMNT lore, and now knowing that Bane has his hands on him, then we know that Bane can do a lot of things with the mutagen, with the toxin, with all these other chemical agents that he can use at his whim and his pleas with Baxter Stockman in his army. So that's where we left off. We start this issue off with Robin playing a game of unicorn something, some sort of crazy video game. They say it right here, Laser Pony Racers Destruction Grotto. So him and Michelangelo, Robin, Casey Jones, and Raphael are all playing on the couch, while Donatello's still kind of pouting about what happened with all the stuff that he's caused this whole issue. So he's kind of pouting on his own there. And that's when Robin and Raphael kind of get into it, which is kind of something I could see coming, and I'm kind of really glad they did introduce that in this issue. And we get to see a little bit of both characters kind of getting on each other's nerves, because that's exactly how it would be. This is Tim Drake Robin, or this is not Tim Drake Robin, this is... oh goodness, this is the Robin, this is actual Batman's actual son, Robin. Damian Wayne, that's his name, Damian Wayne Robin. So he's a lot more hot-headed than Tim Drake ever was, or which we see as Nightwing later on in this series. But it's very cool to see Raphael and Damian Wayne Robin go head-to-head, because they do act very hot-headed, and they are very much the same character, just in two totally different lores. So very cool. I really like that interaction between the two, how they get on each other's nerves and they actually go full-out fighting. We then cut back to Bane, who is with Baxter Stockman, and he's trying to figure out the toxin, and how he's going to have his whole plan play out, and what he wants to do as a villain, and what his whole thing is going to be. And Baxter Stockman basically agrees that he'll make the toxin, or the venom, I should say, not toxin, it's called venom. He'll make the venom for Bane, so that way he can get more supply than he doesn't have to go back to his universe to get more toxin. He can actually get it more from Baxter Stockman in the TMNT universe. But to make sure it works, he's actually captured Bebop and Rocksteady and thrown them up onto on these chains here, and he's going to test the toxin on them first to see if it gives them the super strength and it doesn't kill them in any way whatsoever. Which is actually really cool, because we saw that Bebop and Rocksteady kind of stood up to Bane last issue, and they wanted to be the leaders of the Foot clan, and he basically said no. So we see what happened to them after that. They got tied up, and now they're the test subjects of Bane and Baxter Stockman. We then cut back to Donnie, who is trying to piece this all together, and April's basically, comforting him and tells him that, this isn't really his fault. If this was going to happen, it was going to happen regardless, with or without his help. So, I mean, it happened regardless. So April basically cheers him up. We then get the fight between Robin and Raphael, who are actually going all out at each other, punching each other in the face, throwing stuff around the sewer system. I mean, they have a full-on drag-out, punch-out brawl here between the two characters, and everyone's kind of watching in horror. But like I said, if you're a comic book fan, this is what you wanted to see. You wanted to see these two characters go at it, just because they are very much the same. That is until Batman shows up, and he says basically you both need to grow up, to Raphael and Robin, which is actually a very strong moment for Batman in this comic. Because you do have to remember that these are Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They are teenagers, so they will be acting like teenagers. They are not like the same maturity level as Batman is. So I really like how they're adding the Bat family in this to give that dynamic between the two groups. We then cut to Leonardo, and Leonardo, Splinter, and Batman were all tracking Baxter Stockman and Bane. When Batman comes back to the lair with Leonardo and Splinter, he basically breaks up the fight between the two, and he tells them we know where he's at, we can go hit them now. And that's exactly what they do. They go and they hit Baxter Stockman's lab. They basically, tear everything apart, and at that point, That's when Baxter Stockman actually activates the toxin or the venom, and that's when you have you have Bebop and Rocksteady who are going crazy, giant beefed out versions of themselves, destroying everything in the lab. Baxter Stockman's got a smile on his face because he knows it's going to be a fight for the Turtles and for Splinter and for Batman. But at the same time, the mutagen spills all over Stockman, and if you know anything about Baxter Stockman, you know he turns into the Fly, and he does the same thing here in this comic as well. But yeah, that's what we get here. Baxter Stockman is now the Fly. We now have the group getting surrounded by Bane and his men, along with Bebop, Rocksteady, and Baxter Stockman. And we have this really cool brooding shot of Bane and his men kind of just hovering over the group of people, telling them basically to give up now. You're outnumbered and there's no way you can win. And that's basically where this issue ends off here, with the heroes basically having no chance of winning this battle as it stands now. But yeah, very good ending. I do like the way they set that up, and like I said, I really like this issue about the side characters and how they kind of interact with each other, and the two different universes interacting more than just Batman and the Turtles themselves. So I like that a whole lot, and that's what I really enjoy this second storyline they're giving us of the Batman TMNT crossover, because that's what it needed. It needed more expansion on the characters, the side characters, the world, and not just on the Batman side, but on both sides. So very happy we got this in issue 3. So yeah, I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10. I enjoyed the action. I enjoyed the consequences of the last issue with Bebop and Rocksteady finally having to pay for what they, for standing up to Bane, even though he is the leader of the Foot Clan now. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff happens here. Moving on to issue 4, where this one left off with the group being surrounded. Like I said, we're going to hop right in. We cut back to Casey Jones and April, who are on the other side of the portal on the sewer side, and they're basically watching the portal in case something decides to come through, in case Bane wants to start any trouble or cause any trouble on his end, and send it their way. We cut right back into the fight with the boys. So yeah, they're surrounded, but they're not going to give up, of course. Batman tells them that's not going to happen. We have some really cool moments with Damian Wayne exploding the venom injectors on their arms, on Bebop and Rocksteady's arms, just like Batman would do to Bane. So that way he could not use more power and get more powerful to stop him. And once that happens, an all-out fight breaks out, and you have your Ninja Turtles doing things, you got Splinter doing things, you got Batman doing things. A lot of action going on the screen here. Batman tries to tie up Bebop and Rocksteady at one point. You have the Turtles trying to fight Bane, who's just overpowering everybody, and even gets to the point where Raphael gets picked up like Batman would, and he's about to do the backbreaker on him. And Splinter's horrified because he knows what's going to happen, and he knows that Shell is not going to save his son's back. So Splinter steps into action, and he saves Raphael, but at the sacrifice of Splinter gets beat to the ground. When I say beat to the ground, I mean Bane beats him to the ground, bloody, battered. Splinter looks like he's going to die at any moment, and that's when the team basically decides to pull out of the fight, get Splinter out of there, get him back to the base, get him healed up, and then we'll deal with Bane after that and see where it leads. So yeah, that's what they do. They pull out. And then basically Donatello's saying that he's got an idea, but he doesn't know if it's the right idea. But he's thinking about fighting fire with fire, and his saying is he basically wants to use the venom for himself, so Donnie can become more powerful and beat Bane. And of course, everyone else knows that this is a bad idea. They know that the venom actually alters your mind. It does make you more violent and more susceptible to making bad decisions. And so that's basically what everyone's telling him, except Raphael, who's like, this isn't like medication, brother. Like, you can't just do this and turn out to be the same person you were when you started this. So Donnie decides that he really doesn't have a choice. He's going to have to do this anyway, with or without his family's approval. So he basically goes off on his own to do this venom thing himself, where he's going to be powered up to fight Bane eventually at a superpower level. We then cut to Karai, who is also trying to stop Bane because she's the true head of the Foot Clan, or should be the true head of the Foot Clan. So she's definitely against Bane running the Foot Clan, and she knows that the only person that should be running the Foot Clan is Shredder, and not even her. She thinks Shredder should still be back and running the Foot Clan. So she's going to talk to Batman about maybe reinstating Shredder and getting Shredder's help in this. So we'll see how that goes in a future issue, but that's basically where it's leading to now. Then we cut to Bane, who is putting a mask on the Statue of Liberty. This is the stupidest, the dumbest villain thing I've seen in a while in a comic book. Who cares if you put the mask on the Statue of Liberty? I get it's supposed to be like a power move, like he's taking control of the city or whatever, but it's just kind of stupid in my opinions. But then we cut back to the team, who is now resting and everything, besides Donnie and Leonardo, who are still trying to figure out a plan. We then cut to, Batman and Leonardo. We then cut to Donnie, who then wakes up and is still working on his Venom transfusion thing for himself, and it is a success. So we end this episode off with Donnie going all raged out. As you can tell, we know that this is going to lead into issue 5, which is going to be a big problem for the team, because not only do they have to deal with Bane now they have to deal with Donnie making horrible mistakes and definitely setting the team back another step. But overall, I like these stories so far. The only thing like I said, I don't like about this one, compared to that I did the other ones, I think I mentioned this in the issues 1 and 2 as well. I hate that they are making Donnie the idiot of this storyline, only to push the story forward, because Donnie's not that stupid. He's the smartest member of the Turtles team. He's the one that can build everything they need, so why would he be making these simple mistakes? This is more a mistake that Raphael would make, out of anger and out of emotional turmoil, but not something Donnie would do. So it feels very off character for Donnie to be the idiot of this story, kind of pushing everything forward, but I understand where they're going with it, and I can see they're trying to build a story arc for Donnie, to really come around and make this whole complete thing a whole complete story that is full of character development for both sides, Batman's characters and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle characters. So yeah, I'm not going to fault them too bad for it. I understand why they did what they did. I just wish there was another character that could have been the scapegoat, instead of the smart one of the team, because it just feels really weird to come from Donnie. Even Michelangelo would have fit better. Raphael, Michelangelo, even Leonardo would have fit better than Donnie, but they choose Donnie in this situation as well. Very strange. But yeah, that's just my opinion, guys. So I'm going to give issue 3 a 9 out of 10, because I did enjoy the action and I enjoyed the side characters interacting with each other. And I'm going to give issue 4 a 8 out of 10, just because of the reasons, like I said before, with Donnie being the idiot, the brunt of the joke, and the one that's causing all these problems, when we know that out of all characters, he would not be the one to cause these problems. So other than that, without this loophole, there would be no story. So I get why they did what they did. So yeah, 9 out of 10 for issue 3, 8 out of 10 for issue 4. Stay tuned for issues 5 and 6, and we'll be finishing up this Batman X TMNT II storyline run here at Wet Ink. I hope you guys enjoyed these overviews of the comic books in front of us and the storylines that are going forward. And I hope you guys look forward to new episodes of Wet Ink. We're going to be doing God of War 2018, Image Comics. We're going to be taking a look at that one. And I would also like to get my hands on the Sonic the Hedgehog / Mega Man Worlds Collide crossover comic book, and maybe do something on that as well. So stay tuned for those. Make sure you like, subscribe, or share. And as always, guys, keep it right here on Dorks Den. I've been your host, Ghost. Adios.